Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the circle. I hope everyone's having a happy Monday. So today we're going to do things a little bit differently. First, I should introduce us. So I am Heather Meeks, along with my co-hosts Lynn Hauser, Tracy Evans, and Tammy Hudgen. Hello. So what we're going to be doing today is a live Q&A. Our topic is surrounding networking and how to build engagement with networking, both online and offline. So we have had some people comment with a few questions for us. So what we're going to do is read those few questions, and those that are watching live, if you have any questions regarding this topic, just drop them in the comments section. Tammy's going to be keeping an eye on them, and we'll read them out loud, and hopefully we can get you some answers to those questions. And also, just a little ask, we would be so grateful if you find value in this video to share it out for us. So thanks so much, guys. So
you're too nice.
Isn't she sweet?
Yes. I'm listening to her going, God, I wish I could sound like that. We can learn from Heather.
She's so good at networking. So, right? Yes. So first of all, I always really resonate with this saying that, you know, your network is your network.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe for people who have brick and mortars, maybe not as much, but for anybody building a business online, I really feel like that statement is so truthful, because our network defines how much money we're going to make, how much referrals we're getting.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the reality is if I don't build a network, who am I selling to?
That's right. You have no audience.
No. So, you know, networking is huge. It's a key element. I just want to interrupt quickly because you got a happy birthday.
Oh.
So it is Tracy's birthday today. So Natalie said happy birthday, Tracy. So yeah.
So Denise Napoli Wagstaff, she had commented in our group and had posed a question. Now, just for today, the question is just a little, I don't want to say irrelevant because it's a wonderful question, but just really don't think that has a lot to do with networking per se, but certainly an awesome topic and one that we can maybe look at in the future. And definitely if some of us maybe could read that question and maybe comment with a couple of tips or strategies for her, we could also do that. Gail Hosking, she asked a question, and her question was, so she is looking for specific sites that she can go to borrow names and maybe stock photos, and she's wondering if that scenario kind of works well using her own marketing with pictures to network with others, or if it's better to use more of like a pre-existing branded type of photo. She's with Pampered Chef.
Okay, I'll throw in some.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you're the birthday girl. You get whatever you want today. I think both. I think a mixture of both is great, but I think it's great to have something of your own.
Definitely.
Personally.
Yeah.
And I use and still use, it's very overwhelmed, is WordSwag.
Me too.
Why? Because WordSwag, I think it's a couple bucks to buy it. Maybe it's $5. Yeah.
It's free, actually. There is a paid version if you want to add more layers to it. And have
I did not know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It is free. So what I'll do is after I'll go back and I'll link people to these, few apps that they can use, and that way they know where they are.
Now, how ultimately that can tie into networking, because when you're on, let's say on social media, and you are trying to get people to respond to you, trying to interact. Finding different or creating your own branded style posters that might have a visual of you in it and put your question on the poster is just a great way to drive attention to yourself. But you can use that as a form of networking, right? Getting to know people, building relationships. So you're bringing your brand into it, but you're also making it kind of personal.
Absolutely, because people recognize that original content that you're putting out, right? Sometimes when we use, for example, her brand is Pampered Chef, sure, if there's a sale and they have pre-existing, marketing things that you can use, it's good once in a while, but I really feel it's better to use, your own, personal stuff.
And you
Definitely.
can layer that in. You can have the corporate's brand and then figure out what your brand is that complements it. So maybe colors or whatever. And you can just kind of bring that as a layer on top of what the corporate brand is already doing.
And I think ultimately what we're trying to do online with networking is build a relationship that isn't happening live. So that creating that trust element is really challenging. And the best way to do that is put a little bit of yourself in your posts, right? So like I've gotten to know all of you better because you put a little bit of yourself into your posts. And certainly for myself, you know, I try to connect people to my farm, to my horses. I have a really hard time
And your
posting.
chickens.
And my chickens.
Oh
I
my gosh,
actually
so
have a
cute.
hard time posting stuff that's not mine now. Like where I do use some stock horse photos because there's some beautiful stuff out there, but I really feel a bit disingenuous when it's not my horse. But I'm running out of photos, so I have to find new photos, right? But that's
definitely.
But I think it creates that bond and it gives a little bit of you out there that you would normally give live that you can't over there.
So where it fits in really with networking, it's a funny thing is people are like, oh, well, if you're online, you're not meeting people, but people are getting to know you before you meet them in person somewhat. And it's that know, like, trust factor.
Absolutely.
And when it's you and your face and they get to see you, they get to feel like they know you more. So when you do meet in person, it goes faster.
Absolutely.
That's
And
one.
all
And
of you
after.
online.
And after. And what about the networking piece of people believing that you are who you say you are? Because I think that's huge.
It has to
Right?
go.
So
Like-
when you say you're going on a trip and then you post all these pictures about the trip, she really did go on the trip. I mean,
Right.
it's a bit of a psychological thing, but it's
For sure.
true.
Yeah.
I can't believe the amount of people that I've met in person that I was shocked and went, this is not who I thought they were, right? Because they're trying to network on social media, but they're portraying somebody else, and then you meet them. And that's, I will say that's a mistake where as a business, if you hire a social media person to do the work for you, you can't expect them to sell your personality.
That's right.
It's too hard, right? So you don't want them doing that element because then when someone meets you in person, that you might have had a conversation with you had no idea, right? All of a sudden you're like standing there looking at them like
Deer in the headlights.
Oh.
So you still have to do the networking yourself online. You have to,
For sure.
right?
But how many times do you meet people at a live networking event in person, belly to belly, and the first thing they say is something about your online presence,
Or
right?
you feel like you know each other already.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I love when they
Like,
say,
gosh,
oh my God,
you.
yeah, or they say, oh my God, you are who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I love that. Then you know you've done the right thing when you're working social media, right?
Yeah, that's that like validation piece where you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm doing something right.
Right. So perhaps we can post in the comments of that question too a few resources, like the actual link to a few resources. So we say it.
I use
spell it.
Canva.com.
And Canva too.
And for free stock photos, I use Pixabay, Pexels,
Yes.
even iStock is another one. And just so you know, there's some sites out there that you can sign up for their free trial and they allow you to download so many free. Do that, store them for yourself before your free trial expires, and then you don't have to do paid versions.
Yes.
Yeah,
And even
for
on
sure.
WordSwag, they do have a bunch of it. And this, I have the paid one, but there's a ton of images on there you can use as well as your background. Or, you know, if you just put in the search bar horses, a whole bunch will come up. And then you can fade that out, maybe put a beautiful quote on top of it, stuff fits with your brand. Not necessarily that's the whole networking piece, but it does lend to it. It's just you continue getting to know someone.
You're right.
Prior or after.
One of the questions I get a ton of is, or not really questions, more of a statement is, I don't know how to network online. So what are some of your suggestions as to how someone can network online? What can they do?
I think part of it starts with the groups, right? Like if you can find those networking groups that are focused on networking and not just posting your business sales.
Right.
Those get tiresome,
Yes,
we
they do.
leave those. But where people are talking and interacting and asking for advice and thoughts, and you may be able to contribute, or you may have your own questions, and just being really real in those groups. I think that's where I participated in your Simcoe group and a couple of others, and that's how I got to know Tammy and a lot of So
Yeah.
I think that's
Absolutely.
probably where we all met,
Yeah,
first of
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
cool.
know I
Thanks,
met
Tammy.
Heather through my Leah Sophia days. Oh, you
Oh,
were
right.
but I met her through my Leah Sophia days.
Yeah.
Right.
She was one of my jewelry junkies.
Yeah, it really was.
I know, you're
Look
right.
at her still. You know what? In talking about groups, so because I am the president of Fem City Toronto, we have a Facebook group. And so there are business members and there are community members, which is free. So both get to
Yeah.
participate in all of the conversation. So the business members can post about their business promos, and the community members can still participate in all the conversation. Well, I see some people building relationships in there, and I see
Absolutely.
some people not, because maybe they're not sure how.
Mhm.
So I think, number one is taking an interest in people in the groups, making,
it.
and
Ask
friend
questions.
requesting some of them, maybe if you feel like there's a connection, not the whole old list, but,
Absolutely.
if you have a connection with them, and you can start the networking right there, and move from that to maybe having a coffee date if you live local, or a Zoom.
But you have to
Yeah,
participate.
absolutely.
You
You
have to.
have to.
really
You can't
participate.
just be a stranger. It's like
Yeah.
a cold
No.
call.
Yeah.
It
Oh.
really is.
You don't do cold.
We don't do cold calls.
No, no.
I did.
You'd never
No.
go up to a stranger on the street and be like, "Here, buy my stuff."
Right.
You know, like
Right.
it starts with the
But
conversation.
you might
for sure.
compliment and say, I love your necklace in that picture.
Yeah.
Or I saw your video and I noticed,
Absolutely.
And that's the start of a conversation. And
Right.
we all know
And
that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to make the commitments.
For sure.
You have to say, okay, every day I'm going to allocate, maybe 30 minutes of my day to just go into certain groups and physically network.
yeah.
You can't just sporadically be popping in and doing it. There's a great group that Karen Redpenny runs. She's out west called Bracket Canada, Bracket Home and Small Based Businesses, I think it is. And, I've been slacking because I was very consistent in that group and, constantly interacting and following her themes and posting and stuff. And I've been slacking and not getting in there as regular. And now I've noticed there's a whole ton of new people. They don't know who I am. Right? And if I continue to do what I'm supposed to be doing daily, those new people should be seeing me in there.
Mhm.
So it's making the commitment and sticking to it, right?
How do you do that? Do you want to give us an
Well-
example? Because I know you have a little system.
Yeah, I
I think we all
schedule.
have a bit of a system. Yeah.
It is scheduling. So I commit, now I commit 3 hours a day, but that's to look after my clients as well. So I do commit an hour a morning for myself. And that's where, my business page, any groups that I run, making sure I give them a theme to talk about. But then I take that time to go into very specific groups.
Mhm.
And even if I'm quickly scrolling just so I can get a base to see if there's anything I need to respond, or someone's posted something that I want to interact on. So that's on my calendar, right? And I do it first thing in the morning, then it's done. And then if I have time later in the day, then I'll go back in and do some more. But no matter what, right? So there are certain groups that no matter what, you'll always see me doing something in them.
Because you have a checklist.
Yes, my checklist.
Prompt.
Oh yeah, I
I knew you were going there.
Oh my God, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I have a daily checklist.
This is going to save people from the hours of scrolling
Yeah.
on social media.
Yes.
From not knowing what they're doing is having a specific checklist.
Yes.
Where am I intentionally networking? If you're there for fun because it's Tuesday night at 8:00 and you're not watching TV, go for it. But if you want to do your networking, you have to have a list.
And I have it actually available if
If you
anyone's
want to.
interested.
Yes.
It is a free download on my website.
Would you?
Oh,
Yeah.
you can pop that
So
into
I'll pop
the-
that in there
Awesome.
and you can print it out. And it's not just for networking. The daily checklist is literally what I'm recommending you do every morning for your business. So there's a variety of things that I have you doing in there. But yeah, so I'll post it in here and people can download it and then they can print as many copies they need or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do we have any more questions?
No, but we have another happy birthday, Tracy.
Wow.
Jackie.
Hijacking the
Yeah, and she says, and welcome back to the couch, ladies. But Vanessa did have a comment. She said, yes, building authentic relationships is key,
Yeah.
right? And she's a perfect example of a networking star online.
Vanessa Dewsbury.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Oh,
knew
yeah,
it
she
was
did,
really
right?
I know.
she really, if you don't have Vanessa on your friends list, I would encourage you to get her on your friends list and follow her. She's great for being motivational to us, inspiration, but she gets people talking.
Yes.
She networks like a pro online, so she's a great person to at least follow to see what it is she's doing. So
Absolutely.
yeah, reach out to Vanessa for that. Oh, Vanessa, yeah. Love you, ladies.
So I was gonna say, when there is an event that is a networking event, and they have an event created in Facebook, there are some things to do there that not everybody might be thinking about. So if you are invited to something and you're not sure if you want to go or not, or whether you should invest the time to go and look at the description, of course, but also look at the other list of people that are going. If there's a couple of people that you really would like to connect with, whether you want to further a relationship, or if you just were like, I've never met them, they're really cool. I kind of always wanted to meet Tammy. I see she clicked going. And you can also reach out to them ahead of time if you want. If it isn't weird, you don't know them at all, but you might reach out and say, hey, I see that you're going to, blah, 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 networking. I'm going too. I'd love to chat with you while you're there. So the intention's already there, so you can get your moment together.
Yes.
You could post something after the event in that group too, if you want to, so people might remember you. Right?
Exactly.
You'll be like, oh yeah, I only got a minute with her, but I'd like to reach out to her. Anything to add?
In regards to that, I'd actually like to just add on another tip. When you said after the event of going on Facebook and doing something about it. One of the things that I did the other day is, so I've signed up with the Wasaga Beach Women's Business Association, and they have a private group. So you have an opportunity to introduce yourselves.
Right.
So I went in and I picked one of my photos that I'm just not normal in it. But when I wrote my intro, I started off first with something personal. Then I flowed into something basic about my business. And then I ended with 3 things I love to do. And one of the elements was I love my Caesars. So what's interesting, though, is they were all welcoming me. 3 people actually said, oh my God, I'd love to meet you for a Caesar.
See?
Okay, so be careful when you're trying to introduce yourself into a group. Don't make it all about business, right? Bring some of those little personal elements into it, because most people, that's actually going to be what captures their attention, not that you are trying to sell your business, right? And that's just a great way to start
100%.
networking with people. So I've already got them curious, and that's my goal, get you curious about me, and then maybe we can start some conversations.
Sometimes it's also nice to, look at the people going, like you mentioned, and who's attending, and be intentional about picking out who you'd like to meet, but also go on over to their profile, learn a couple things about them. Ultimately, people love to hear about themselves.
Absolutely. Of course
Right?
we do.
Yes.
And instead of talking about you, the conversation starts off with maybe a commonality. Oh, I see you like horses. I love horses,
Yeah.
So I think
Or I
taking
see that you have
time-
crazy chickens.
Right.
I see you're a crazy chicken.
But I like that. I've had people in the past come up to me and mention something about dance with my girls, and it makes the conversation feel a lot more authentic because they've taken the time. It's a wow factor for people too, right? Because they've actually taken the time to learn something about you.
Yes.
Which I love. It's so important to me. So that's okay.
Now,
I have another question.
You're phoning us.
They're phoning us with questions,
And to add on that, when you actually go to the event, one of the things I like to recommend to people is instead of walking up to someone and saying, hi, I'm Tammy Hutchin and I work with blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Instead, hi, I'm Tammy Hutchin. Tell me one of the favorite things you love to do with your free time, for example.
Yeah.
And as you start that conversation, you'll start to get a feel for what they actually do in business. Because usually what we like to do in our free time somehow comes around into
sure.
what we do with our
Sure.
business. Yeah, hopefully, right?
Yeah,
Like you're,
passion.
yeah. So ask them questions where you can learn something on a personal level instead of just going in and introducing yourself and here's my business, blah, blah, blah. Here's my business card.
Okay.
And walk away.
Okay. Real moment. How do the Caesars fit in with what you do for a living?
Well, let me think.
I'm like the Tammy Monday.
When you're wrapping up your day.
It's celebration when I finish all my social media
Right,
posts. My clients, I get to celebrate with Caesar.
Just joking.
Absolutely.
No, but that's a piece of your brand, which is an interesting, just simple, it's just you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, let's be
And it's
realistic,
fun.
okay?
People know you about
So
that.
you really don't realize who's following you on social media, and you're doing all this stuff. And when Caesar Fest was announced, I had people tag me in posts on Caesar Fest's business page.
Yeah.
I had people sharing it on my personal timeline,
Yes.
and I had private messages,
Mhm.
right? And now finally I went, okay, I need to go because obviously everybody thinks I should be at Caesar Fest. But that was really cool because it told me, even though it was Caesar's, it just told me that people are paying attention,
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
right?
And
So
connected.
they've connected. To them it was like, oh my God, I can tell Tammy about this event. So it made them feel good that they were sharing something with me that they knew I loved,
Yes.
right? So if you don't put that into your networking, and I'm not saying go full blown personal, but you gotta sprinkle in some of that personal
Yes.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, because I think you're
Oh, sure.
amazing at this, when you talk networking to build engagement, you have ridiculously great engagement.
Mm.
Now, it's partly because
Oh
she's
my
so sweet and
gosh.
wonderful and beautiful, you know, everybody just wants to be around Heather. But I think you probably could drop a couple of very intentional tips you do around that. Besides that you love it.
Absolutely.
Clearly,
Well,
but
I mean, I love
for
people.
networking.
I love
Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
But yeah, at the same time, tips on that would be right now, the algorithm on Facebook, it's ever changing. And you
Yeah.
understand that. And, to build an audience and build engagement, you really and truly, it's as simple as you got to give to get. Like you really do. So everybody that likes, comments, you have to be intentional about almost returning that favor. And I find, for the last 6 months, I have been so intentional about that. I just feel like if somebody is going to take the time, out of their busy day to write a comment or post a little story or share a little bit of their inspiration, you are darn right, I'm going to take the time to respond to that, right?
And can you who wouldn't want to do business with somebody that cares that much
Well,
about other people?
Right,
Heather
right.
also asks a lot of questions, right? So you put a profound thought out there, and then you ask for that.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's the feedback? And you
Yeah.
engage that. You sometimes it's a little controversial. Sometimes it's really
Yeah,
feel good.
yeah.
You encourage that engagement.
It's always inquiring minds like Heather want to know.
You have to start doing that as a
I
brand.
really am interested to
Yeah.
hear what other people think, because as we know, we all have our own personalities, we all have our own ideas. But I love being open to, maybe I missed something. Maybe I can think about this a different way. So what do you think? So I just think being really intentional and making sure that you're returning the favor for people who do take the time to engage with you is really important.
So just to summarize, because I'm going to ask Tracy a question on this, because I think we're probably pretty close to our time already.
Yes,
And we're like really fast.
It's a pretty
But
big topic, yeah.
if I had to commit to networking in person, how often in a month would you recommend that someone goes out and physically does that? So attending certain networking, because I know that you belong to many different networking groups. How often in a month? Like, is it something that we should be, no matter what, we commit to doing this many days a month?
I think it's important, and it's hard to put a number on it. In the early days, more is better. Like the more people you can meet when you're first starting your business, the better. I now am challenged because my business has grown so much. How much can I go to? So
Right.
I feel really bad because I miss a lot of things. But I try, when I see that event that I can't come to, I always comment that I'm so sorry I can't make it. Really would look forward to seeing everybody, and I'll wait for the next one. Like I'm genuinely disappointed if I can't get there. But I think the more you can do, the better. I think I would say a minimum of 3 a month. If you can do 1 a week, and get in touch with people. And when you're building your business, that's the way to do it. And I think that's the biggest tip when we think about networking online is you're doomed to fail if that's all you do.
Yes.
Right? Like your true connections still happen in person.
Mhm.
You know, not over a text, not over a emoji. And, you know, it happens in person. And I get a lot of those questions from my graduates because they're starting to build their business and they, you know, why is my social media ad not picking up? Why am I not getting people at my events? It's like you can't do it from the behind the screen alone. You know, your social media your balance can change a bit as you grow your business and people know you, but you can't start all social media no personal. So I highly recommend get out to as much as you can. Especially in the early days.
And it goes beyond not just attending a networking event, attending seminars,
Right.
workshops.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
Where you're gonna
that's
Yes,
twofold,
it's
right?
all networking.
Yeah, and you're going to learn, but you're also going to meet people there that are also at the same level as you. They're at that training because they need to learn that element.
Yeah.
You're at the training because you need to learn it. So now you've got already one connection made. So how do you enhance that, you know? How do I continue to build the relationship on someone? And maybe I say to them, would you love to be accountability partners and make sure that we're taking what we learned in this training session and moving forward with it? So now you start a relationship with someone,
And
right?
even
That's a great idea.
events and trade shows, like don't view them as I'm behind my table selling.
No.
You're there to meet people and share your
absolutely.
passion. That is one of my biggest networking opportunities, and some of my best opportunities have come from just being somewhere where I can share myself.
Yeah.
Meet the other vendors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You got a whole room of vendors.
Yeah.
So don't worry about
Like-minded.
how many people are actually coming through the door, right? Go around and network with the other vendors that are there, and you can start building that relationship. And then you can, you know what? Now I can reach out to Heather and say, hey, do you know any more events coming up? Do you want to drive together?
Yeah.
Right? So constantly building.
There are a ton of opportunities.
Oh my God, yeah. God.
Just get out there.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think wrapping up, we can both all agree that it is both an offline and an online combination to achieve success in building engagement in our audience. And for anybody else who has questions or comments, please comment below. We would love to address them for you. And thank you all so much for tuning in today. We are going to sign off now. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers, ladies. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tracy.
Want me to end this one?
Sure.